We did it. My
You made
lighting
it.
sucks so bad.
What happened to you?
I was in Cincinnati. First of all, what's up, colleagues? Happy Monday, y'all. We are doing a show today that should be titled, Tory, Against All Odds.
I know.
I flew in from Cincinnati. I had a fantastic weekend at the Liberty Funny Bone, 250 plus, all 3 shows.
Oh my God.
I thought it was going to be a disaster. Like the club was like, what? Like, how did you? So people showed up.
People showed up.
I sold so many Kids on the Spectrum shirts that I ran out and I had to take people's mailing address. So I have to go to the post office.
That's awesome, Allie. That's awesome.
Thank you. And
Michael Dean says you look like the Prince of Shadows.
Michael Dean, you have no idea how much that's going to affect me, because as somebody that's I'm not trying to co-opt this because it's cool to be on the spectrum, but I definitely probably am. And the idea of my lighting being wrong when I've spent so much time, this will bother me forever, colleagues. I feel like
What happened?
I don't know why it's so dark in here.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. Maybe this light that's usually on me is something's happening.
Okay.
It's the worst lighting. I hate it. I will think about it for weeks. So and then on top of that, when I came home, little baby Sarsar has got food poisoning again.
No.
Yeah. So I had to run right back out, got her some Pedialyte, and
no, I can get her stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So that's what we're dealing with over here. And then I came right back and been talking. You've had a day.
I've had a bad day.
Be real with our colleagues.
We can be real.
No details, but like what did Chinua Achebe say? Things fall apart.
It's true. My favorite Buddhist nun wrote the book When Things Fall Apart, and I feel like that book was written for me.
I was going to say, I feel like she stole that title.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. But, I'll just speak from my perspective. At the time I was being divorced by my wife initiated the divorce that she should have. I was not in a good place. And I came back to my apartment in LA, and I've never told anybody this. My apartment was empty. Like she told me she was moving out, but the furniture was still there, but the things I cared about were gone. And I think that was the first time that somebody turned a light on for me, like, hey man, let's fix this. Now in your situation, I don't think that you would be me in that version of the story, but it doesn't matter because the sum is the sum. And what was happening is you guys were not let me shut my mouth. What was happening with me is she was in a more advanced place than I was. And I caught up.
You definitely did.
I was good with the dad stuff. I wasn't good with the partner stuff because there's a part of our jobs as comics, as shadow puppets, like I am right now. We're selfish. I was selfish. Hey, I'm bringing home money. What do you want me to do? Be here every night? I have to go out and do stand-up. And I needed to check myself on what was important. Nice. And it had to happen. Yeah. And so I hope that happens for any party involved with you. And did somebody ask, how did I fix it?
No. They asked, where's Tory's microphone? Did Al fix it?
I just got back into town. First of all, you guys are not going to have to wonder. I'm going to go over and get Tory set up together. After I get my shit ball set up together, I look like I'm doing the first podcast. And I'm just, do you remember the first email you sent?
Yeah. And I remember it was 1995, I think, 7. But you do look like you're in a cave and you were with Tory, a fire. It's bad.
I don't know what Do I have these lights on? What is
Don't worry about it. What are you?
I
What are you? What are you over? Are you over anything?
Well, I'll say I don't know if I'm over anything this weekend, but I will say this, and it's going to lead us into our first story. I'm over us sane washing what's going on in Washington with Trump and his policies. We're going to get to our first story, which is the Texas floods. And, sane washing is exactly what it is. And hold on, Tory, I made this for you to hopefully it'll make you feel better. And it's uploading because I didn't put it in there. So we're not going to see the intro I made. I tried to get a Texas intro and it's not there. But you know what? I'm over like us not pretending that. And I think this all started. Remember when Trump was wrong about the direction of that hurricane and he drew the path that he thought the hurricane, this is Trump 1.0, his first term. I think he was so embarrassed by that on top of the fact that it is another branch of the government, he has been out for NOAA. He has been out for FEMA. And this is what happens when the chickens come home to roost. You do not have those people there that a South African just flew over here and fired a bunch of people. There used to be people at work working at NOAA that were there. Oh, well, since we're talking about it. The Texas floods. So, there were people that worked 24 hours a day at NOAA, so you could see these things coming. And now they don't because they don't have the funding. So if, to save money, you and I move in together and I say, Tori, it's costing us a lot of money, the locks on these doors and your alarm system. And you cave and you get rid of those things and we get robbed. We just don't bring that up.
Right.
Like, this is why we have these warning systems. This is why we try and track these things. This is what government employees do. My friend Forrest Shaw is a comic. He was a marine biologist. He used to go out and test water levels, test water purity. These are things, the boring jobs that a lot of Americans were convinced were extra and unnecessary. And here's what happens when you take experts and you kick them out of the door. And in response, I don't know if you saw this tour, Marjorie Taylor Greene then said, well, guys, I am putting forth legislation where she is trying to ban Democrats using weather changing technology because she thinks that Democrats control the weather in red states. That was her response to this.
Yeah, I think she also thinks we as Jews have some kind of space laser,
she might be onto something there. But
yeah, I know. I just want to also bring up the fact that so many of these places in Texas, and first off, our hearts go out to everybody. So far, we believe 95 confirmed dead. We have 27 that have come from the girls' camp. 11 have been missing. That includes some staff members as well. But 95 people have been confirmed dead in Central Texas. It's one of the deadliest U.S. floods in America in decades. I do want to first off mention climate change because no one is bringing that up, which is ridiculous. I also think it's ridiculous about NOAA and weather forecasters. I completely agree with you, Al. And then the third thing is FEMA, which is there for federal protection. And yet everybody in the Republican Party and mostly Trump poo-poos giving aid federally. And everybody does it until the disaster hits. And then it's where's FEMA? Where's FEMA? Where's FEMA? So it's always so frustrating to me when we talk about efficiency because efficiency turned into a mass casualty event in this case. Yeah. So efficiency turned into just absolute disaster. And that's what happens when you get rid of regulations, you get rid of regulators. And FEMA is a godsend to those, especially in the tornado and the flooding centered states. My sister was in Colorado and we were on a trip, Al, and she had a flash flood. She was out with a bunch of girls. They were seconds away from being it. She said it happened within seconds. And like you turned around and the river was this high, like above your head.
That's
So
insane.
it's insane. And many of the girls were also right at the river, like they were on the edge of the river. So my heart is breaking for these girls and for everybody in Texas. It's not like I don't want them to get help because they aren't on my political side. I want there to be FEMA for everybody. So ending FEMA is just it's the opposite of efficiency. And that's what I call the bam, bam effect. I know they come in, they bam, bam, bam. And then what happens? Some flood happens and there's nothing there. There's no infrastructure. So again, I'm just devastated for everybody. And I'm so very sorry for Texas and anybody living in Texas. If you're there, please let us know. Our prayers and our hearts are going out to you guys.
Yeah, this is also, Tory, before we move on, I'll just say this is because you have to understand that the GOP has a strategy that they are working towards. They take government duties that, people don't necessarily think about or don't have a great time with, whether it's like getting a driver's license or just like the boring minutia of life that the government handles.
Yeah.
And they portray it to the public like, who here hates, all this government waste, and I don't like meter maids and all these kinds of things. And they're like, don't you guys want to get rid of it? And when you first think about it, you're like, yeah, let's save some money. What they're trying to do is privatize this so that, getting something done by the government will be no different than like trying to cancel a membership at Gold's Gym.
Yeah, right.
A company that doesn't want you to leave. And if you do leave, Texas, matter of fact, has privatized their electrical grid. And we've seen how that's worked out in the last couple of winters. Because these companies are driven by profit. The government may be slower and it may be bureaucratic, but these are people that have dedicated their lives to just making sure that you're alive. The companies have stockholders. And if those stockholders are not happy, they don't care if you, the consumer, is happy. Thanks for keeping my lights on. The CEO will be like, I got fired because I didn't make the company enough money. So we know ahead of time what their agenda is. And we clearly just let this happen. And I will ask you this, and I'm going to try and put you on a single. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Nope, it's just, I think you have to be talking. So, Tory, I'm going to put you on a single while I try and fix my lights because I'm going crazy.
Okay.
But I want you to tell us, like, not only where are the Democrats now, but how do we / they combat the, hey, it's too soon to be talking about that. I can't believe you would bring that up. There's still bodies that haven't been. So how do we defend against that?
So first of all, Gigi just said, I live in the Austin area. It's just you again.
I can't. I think the StreamYard.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm just letting you guys know, Gigi, I'm so sorry that you live in the Austin area and you're around that. And you also want a great point on the river. I think it's called the Guadalupe or the Guadalupe. I want to get that right. I apologize. But it rose from a 0.7 feet to 24.3 feet in less than 2 hours. Yeah, apparently like they turned around and it was just over their heads. I also just want to say, there was hurricanes and tornadoes. Usually there's warnings and sirens, and I believe that they never put up the sirens for the flood. All these little things could have saved 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 people, only because there's like a warning ahead of time. And I also know, as Daytime Talk After Dark head Michael Dean said, the acting FEMA administrator, Cameron Hamilton, who took over January 22nd, he was fired in May after defending FEMA's mission. So even like the head of FEMA is gone. You don't want to do that during climate change, during summer, when we're going to get the tornadoes, the hurricanes, and the flash floods. So again, Al is now darker somehow.
It's worse.
Okay.
It's
worse.
Way worse. I can't. I feel like I'm talking to you from the last resistance holdout and aliens have taken over the planet. So I mean, I think we're done with that, but I would just like to see someone called to the table. Where are the congressional hearings that make people answer these questions? If you
but the problem is that they're in power.
I'm all ears.
No, but they're in power. Now, some committees will hold some congressional committees, but let me tell you, Al, they will do nothing. But I do think that Jasmine Crockett's, the people from Texas, they can run on this. And I do hope the Democrats run on this in 2026 to show, not to politicize people's lives, but to be like, not only did the big, beautiful bill come and create $3 trillion worth of debt and 17 million people are off of their benefits, but look what happened in Texas. Just look with your eyes, because I just hope the Democrats are smart enough.
I'm worried that they're not going to be.
Yeah, Al, I agree with Julia. You should tell us some ghost stories.
Okay. There was a man who had a family. All right. He lived in a little town called Amityville. Supposed to be the real. I'm losing my mind, Tory.
Amy Higgins just wrote in, I'm from Texas. Thank you, Amy, for writing in, and previously worked for FEMA in Texas. Thank you, Amy, for your contribution. I've seen both sides. Ted Cruz just leaves when there are disasters. I think we can all remember
when he got caught.
Cancun.
Oh, that was so embarrassing.
Cancun Cruz.
And he had to come back with his roller bag.
His roller bag was the worst part of it all.
Oh, so embarrassing.
Apparently he's in Greece right now. Greece is not doing well. There were wildfires throughout Crete and destroyed many buildings and villages in Greece. So Cruz, I hope Cruz doesn't get elected again, but he's kind of a mainstay.
All right, Tory. Let's get to we gotta talk about some other stuff. Let's
I'm so sorry, Texas.
Yes, Texas.
We love you, Texas.
We are with y'all, and you know how we feel. I just want equity for everybody. I do
That's
not.
What FEMA's for. That's what FEMA's for. That's what FEMA's for.
It'd be nice. All right, this is going to be our second main story, because this is also important. I got stuff to say about it. All right, Tortor. Epstein, Elon, round 2.
Yes.
Let's go. And I'm going to put you on a camera by yourself again, just to
Why?
fix the light. I can't. Tory, I'm losing my mind. Hold.
I don't want to be alone, you guys. Okay, so let's talk about this. Sunday night, Elon Musk tweeted on X, his very own company, quote, "What's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again." Responding, of course, to the DOJ FBI memo released this weekend that declared the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein did not keep a little black book or a client list of potential blackmail targets, and stating he was not murdered in jail. Elon then posted, "If there are no clients, why is Ghislaine Maxwell still in jail? Wasn't the Trump administration supposed to uncover the truth about this and pay off all the conspiracy theories?" So I wanted to know, in your theory, could you guys write in the comments if you believe Jeffrey Epstein was murdered or committed suicide? Just say, do you believe he was murdered? Yes or no? Lucy, thank you for saying that. I feel horrible. So thank you for saying that. Do you believe Jeffrey Epstein was murdered? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think he was 1,000% murdered. Do you agree?
Without a doubt. Absolutely.
Okay. So,
and thank you, John Venturini, for welcoming me back. Julia, I have 2 lights that might as well be at a high school stadium in front of me. I don't know why it's so shadowy. I think I got to get that corner. I'm
crazy.
I know.
Need Gemini. You need Gemini, and some people are saying no, they don't believe. Do you guys really believe he committed suicide in there? If so, let us know, because that's interesting to know. I did a little deep.
I don't think anybody does, Tor.
Well, I think that I can't believe it. I also think that I can't believe that the only person keeping Epstein in Trump's corner and saying, "Hey, you promised to do something about it," is Elon Musk. There's no one else. Like, this is our guy. I don't know. Well, it just seems
that's the weird thing. It's almost like I disagree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on 99.9% of things, but she was like, "We do not want to go to war with Iran." You know, she was, and so was Tucker Carlson for all the horrific things he said. I agree with that. So I'll just say this Epstein thing, is, I think, a bigger deal for the MAGA community than people are, because they think it's just another weird scandal. So what?
Yeah, they're going to
People,
push it under the rug. And I'm like, why are we pushing this enormous problem under the rug?
I think they can push. I think, sadly, Tory, they can push the FEMA thing under the rug. They'll just, oh, the Democrats, some Jew people, and then it'll go away. This Epstein thing is going to be very difficult because, and Marcy said it, look, their cohort, a nice size component of it is conspiracy people that were QAnon folks and are obsessed with Democrats are drinking babies' blood and Democrats are pedophiles. Joe Biden was a pedophile, and Jeffrey Epstein with the Clintons and all that kind of stuff. And so this is a big deal to them. The tariffs were an embarrassment. The roundups of people that work in this country were a horrible look and affected a lot of red state Trump voters, and they let all that slide. But this Epstein stuff, I don't think they can.
I think they try to. As someone just said, under the rug is what white Christian nationalists do best. I feel like Trump promised to get down to the whole gritty and then was just like, we're not going to talk about that. And for some reason, I'm really glad that Elon Musk has kept this in the spotlight. Our co-host, Jeff Schroeder, has always been like, but what about Epstein? Like, why did 2 guards that were on suicide watch fall asleep? Like, why was there 18,000 sheets in that room when he was committed suicide? Like, why do we not know more information? And why is Elon Musk the one who's going after the truth? I'd love to see the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal hold some fire. I'd love the press to try and say, like, what's going on in this? But I also don't believe he didn't have a black little book. I do not believe that. I think he videoed every single room, even the bathrooms. We know that they were all wired for cameras. And if he didn't have that, you think that this guy who had all the dirt didn't keep a documentation of it? To me, this is all crap. And I think Pam Bundy is messing this all up. Pam Bundy is messing
Pam Bundy is a woman that works in the maintenance office. Like Pam Bundy. She's out sick today, I think.
I just think it's insane. So I know Jeff Schroeder and I never really agreed on much, but during the commercial breaks, we were constantly talking about Epstein because it's insane that this has just been like, it's okay. We don't need to worry about it. Like, that's all right. When it contributed to so many political higher ends that have some blood on their hands, it's obscene. So the press won't touch it because the Trump people and Trump himself will shut the presses down, says Shelley. That's true. If you're not loyal to Trump, he will try and take you down, and then you have to sue, and then you have to get a lawyer, and then you have to pay money, and all that. But there's something called the freedom of the press, and the Washington Post has a lot of money. They've been sued many times, and they have good lawyers, including my dad's firm. So at this point, I can't understand why Elon Musk is the torchbearer for the truth here. I just don't understand. Now, I also think...
Oh, please, keep going.
No, you're on a roll. I think Trump is on the list. I think we know he's on the manifesto. But I also think there's a lot of Democrats on the list that if Trump were interested, I think Clinton has a major problem here with the Epstein list. And to be honest, I think the murder of Epstein, again, this is speculation, I think Clinton had something to do with the situation. And that's all I'm going to say. What do you think?
That is your opinion. My issue with thinking, I think if you look at just a brief overview of how we got here, we are talking about somebody that was convicted of, sexually assaulting minors, essaying minors in Palm Beach. He went to jail where he was given such a sweetheart deal that he was allowed to leave his cell for up to 13 hours a day. He was getting food delivered there. He did what was that? And then Alex Costa, who was I believe the governor there, maybe or maybe who's the head lawyer in each state? What's that?
Oh, the district attorney?
Yeah, he was down there before he got promoted by Trump, and he worked a plea deal with Epstein's people without even consulting any of the victims. Epstein then lives with impunity. His girlfriend, Ghislaine, is seen at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. They are living it up. And now all of a sudden we hear that there's no client list. There's a picture of Prince Andrew, one of those. So shouldn't it be at least one? Bill Gates got divorced.
Yeah. Did you see how? Yes. Melinda Gates spoke about it recently on a podcast. I don't know if you guys saw, but Bill Gates' connection. And by the way, I agree with you guys. It's both sides. Bill Gates' connection to Epstein is why he lost his wife. I think a lot of the reputation, but I just don't get why no one's interested in hearing the truth. And if it's Elon,
I think they were, and I think that's why he's not here.
Yeah. And I guess
this is the last I'll say on it, because I don't want to beat this topic into the ground. I could talk about it forever, but I want all of our colleagues to remember what it looked like when we finally got El Chapo in custody on this side of the border, because he escaped from 2 Mexican jails. Do you guys remember what that looked like? Snipers on the roof.
Remember this?
They were flak jacket over his head. FBI agents. They were giving him more protection than you would a sitting president, because when you get the highest profile criminal that you have, that's your kind of prize pig, for lack of a better term. You want them to serve out whether it's the Oklahoma City bomber or just people that have been caught. The public has a yearning to see them be brought to justice.
Yeah, except for when Trump says turn your head, and we all do. It's just odd. It's so odd. And I think you guys are all right that it's both sides. But Trump, as Michael Dean said, he ran on exposing the truth. And this one, he's running from at this point. So I don't understand it.
Well, Dan Bongino, who was a famous broadcaster before he became head of the FBI or whatever, this was one of his pet stories to talk about. And now the look on their face when they're just like, yeah, bro, Pam Bondi, we're going to call her Pam Bundy for you. She sat in front of the country tour and said, I have binders full of clients. Binders. She said, I currently have them. They're on my desk. And now she's saying, nah, I didn't even have those.
I know.
I mean,
it just smells so bad. It smells so bad.
Yeah, I think even the diehard Trumpers know that he's on that list.
And I mean, there's pictures of him with Epstein. I mean, there's video. We've seen the video of him. Yeah. So
it's just so interesting, like who we decide to hold to account. It's like when you think about the financial crisis that I believe we're still suffering from to this day. It's the reason why we don't know any young homeowners. It's because the idea of a mid-20s to early 30s couple just buying a house pretty much on their own is not a thing.
It's like unheard of.
Because of the housing crisis, those people never were held to account. No one even knows what they look like. For the last 20 years, our country has been awash in prescription pills. We lost Prince, who's the great actor with the 3 names I love, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Anna Nicole Smith. It's touched our Whitney Houston. And so many people have been taken away by prescription. Who's the face of that? I know a couple doctors at pill mills went to jail. Yeah,
the Sackler family got in trouble and got their name removed from some museums. But that was about it. I
mean, look at how we treated the crack epidemic, where we threw a sixth of the black men in this country in jail. Mm-hmm. It's just like the response to certain things is so striking and off-putting that it makes it even harder to even believe, even when you want to, about the concept of justice.
I agree with you. Diddy, it's just a lot of this. So I just, one day I hope we get to know the truth. One day. And again, that comes with a younger group of people in Congress. That comes with committees asking the right questions and not just falling off. So I hope we get to learn. But I guess good on Elon for keeping this in the spotlight, because he's the only one right now.
But again, he's keeping it in the spotlight out of spite.
It's personal. It's just a spite story.
Yeah, he's not doing it to be a good person. But you know who are good people, Tory? Spider movie. They're great. We love them. And I wonder, they run a first class organization over there, but I really do wonder if, somebody gave a tip to Epstein or somebody and like went and cleaned this stuff out, because all those computers and everything, all those hard drives were gone.
No, I
So
know.
if you don't have any shady hard drives, but you do got some stuff you want to move, and you're like, how about if I get a young, strong dude over here? I'm probably going to be busy, but Spider Moving will come through for y'all like they came through for me. So please give them a call. Michael Dean will put their number under as an icon, but please give them a call. And if nothing else, shoot them a 5-star review on Google and say, I haven't used these guys yet, but they helped my boy Al Jackson out, and that means something in my book. And then I want you to go on and on about how much you enjoy me and how much you think Tory is an anchor on the show. I'll then respond. We'll get some, algorithm. Am I allowed to laugh at my own jokes? I think I can.
I love it.
So shout out Spider Moving. We appreciate you guys. So Tory, in that vein, let's keep it moving. Oh, we have one that I don't think we've ever used this one. Tory, we needed this today. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tory, we're talking junk food. And they're saying that the adolescents in this country are having way too much of it. Our kids are as out of shape as they've ever been, as malnourished and lacking nutrients in their food as they've ever been. And
this is bad.
Sicker, sadder, and falling behind is
that's right. So obesity
rate title.
So obesity for U.S. children 2 to 19 years old rose 17% to about 21% in 2021 to 2023. And in a U.S. child in 2023 was 15 to 20% more likely than a U.S. child in 2011 to have what we call chronic conditions like anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, according to data. So 97 chronic conditions recorded by doctors rose from about 40% in 2011 to 46% in 2023. So we're not doing great. We're doing poorly. And I have to be honest. I feel like this, sitting around and doing this and not moving and being sedentary and causing the anxiety and causing the comparison spiral is all contributing to that. I don't have an answer, but I honestly believe that like this is the cause for so much pain for our young children. What do you think, Al?
I think that our kids are living in our homes. They see the behavior reflected from their parents, and they feel the stress that their parents feel. I think when a lot of times people get nostalgic, I think a lot of times wrongly, but I think aesthetically, when you look at like a household in the late 50s, early 60s, one income, comes home, briefcase down, hey, honey, and she's like, I'm making rolls. But it seemed like a pattern. It seemed like something, it's something that people desire, which is some kind of lifestyle continuity. Everybody I know has 2.5 jobs now, Tor. Yeah, I do taxes and I drive Uber and I teach special ed in the summers. And, I'm a diving instructor. Like that wouldn't be crazy if somebody told you that. Our grandparents, one job. Your dad's pretty much had one job. My dad had one job. My mom's had one job.
Yeah.
The job market is less and less stable by the day. It's making it impossible we've seen like every time that Amazon's trying to unionize, how that's been shut down. So people do not unionize anymore. So workers do not get the benefits that they deserve. They don't get the increases. They don't get the health care that they deserve. And so people have to work these extra jobs, and they are sicker and they are sadder and they are falling behind because you do not have just something to focus on. I did my job all day. I can come home. I'll be like, hey kids, don't be in front of that TV. We're going to go, let's make a lemonade.
You have energy. Right. You have energy to go do something. I also want to say, and I appreciate Michael Dean saying that, How many kids do you see bicycling around the neighborhoods today compared to when you grow up? The advent of the phone and the computer and the internet and all of that and the social media, not only are we not seeing kids actually move, like just movement, just like I used to run around in the neighborhood and get dirty just by like going to visit friends. Like that concept has stopped. So just the sedentary part of kids sitting with their neck. They say we're evolving from this to like this, and our hands are going to become claws.
Little
So
T-Rex.
yeah, like our bodies are actually evolving into this position because we're constantly in it. And the other thing I want to say is it's important for kids to be outside unsupervised. And I don't mean like little kids like that, but I mean like 9, 10, 11, all these. And the reason why I've been learning a lot about this is because kids figure out hierarchy. They figure out how to have arguments with their friends. They figure out social cues. They figure out eye contact. They figure out relational, interpersonal differences. And when kids don't have that and are isolated, they don't have that with job interviews. They don't have that confidence. They don't have that social background. That all diminishes our workforce. So this idea of like doing this isn't just like, yeah, that stinks. They're really not getting the exercise they need. They're not developing full cortex of their brains of how to be social human beings. So I find that they're over supervised if they are playing outside, and then B, they're not really outside that much. So it makes me very, very, very worried about this next generation. What do you think?
And honestly, Tory, I'll just start with your last point first. You're talking about going outside. Yes, you would see kids playing football and playing baseball and playing sports, but now, and it does go back to the financial crunch of parents. I don't know if there's that many kids that like just suck anymore at sports. I think early on,
but you had to learn how to suck and deal with it and deal with it. Your self-confidence, like you had to build that back up. Like that's important.
Now, like if you show any promise let's say young Tory is a promising 6-year-old, literally 5, 6 years old, and your name's starting to get out there, you already have a private coach.
Yeah.
You're not playing in the sandlot with your homegirls.
Right.
You're at a batting facility.
Yeah,
that
you're
is tracking your eye movement when somebody throws a curveball at you.
Right.
And so like even sports is taken so seriously at such an early age that even the idea of recreational sports, there's not enough people.
Right. And it's just important for their social upbringing. Like sometimes I would fail really bad, and that's vital information for me to learn as a child to like get back up and be like, okay, how do I deal with this mentally as a child and not rely on a parent and not rely on just like going to Instagram? It's very, very important that kids have to learn these things, or else we're growing a full generation of kids that don't know how to have interpersonal relationships. I mean, and then what do we do in politics? You know, like what does that happen with? So I just, this little bit of information about like unhealthiness really is a microcosm for unhealthiness in a lot of other ways for kids. And I don't know, I don't have children. I'm like, I feel very like, I don't know how I'd handle this generation of children. It's like, there's so many learning parent things and things you have to do, and the mother and the father. And, you know, I listened to Esther Perel, and she's a great podcaster. Her podcast is Where Should We Begin? And she talks a lot about this, like how many days of the week and hours do your kids play unsupervised? And the parents these days say none. And unsupervised play is movement, it's exercise, but it's also incredibly important social information for children to learn. So I think this is all bad.
Right. And, you know, first of all, shout out to Julia for this because I totally believe it. She says, I heard a report this morning that kids that play outside in the dirt are healthier than those that stay inside. Yeah, you got George Carlin had a famous bit. Well, it was famous to me. I'm a huge fan. But he said, you know, when I grew up in my neighborhood in Jersey, nobody got sick. You know why? Because we swam in the Hudson River.
Right.
It was filled with everything from the city. And he was like, no one got sick.
Dirty. Yeah, there's antibodies in there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that we do ourselves a disservice by trying to separate, like, what are we as adults doing to these kids? Colleagues, I think it's different. I have 3 kids that I have watched grow into young adults, And the adolescence period that I know Tory, myself, Michael Dean, and all y'all went through, they didn't have it, dog. They've been kind of little adults. My daughter's like practical.
Yeah.
She's never like, I want to stay here longer. She's like, okay, well, we'll go. I'm like, throw yourself on the floor, fight for this. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to stay or not? You know, like they are. The good thing is that they're very mature. So we have seen teen pregnancy plummet.
Right.
We have
drug and alcohol plummet.
Binge drinking at college plummet. But like I always say about life,
not anxiety.
Right. It's beautiful and gross at the same time.
Yeah.
It's beautiful that our kids are not as ignorant as we were growing up about the reality of the world. Like this guy said he loves me, so we didn't use a condom, you know?
Yeah.
Like my daughter would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's unheard of.
But now our kids are us. They're anxiety riddled. They're vaping their ass off. They're already trying to make money on YouTube because they see this is the only way.
Totally. Influence. And that comes with comparison. I do want to let people know that are saying that, and especially the pandemic made them grow up little adults too. But anyone who's saying that they don't play in dirt, a surgeon famously wrote an article that went very viral back in like the early 90s, late 80s, and said he lets his child baby eat off the floor. I don't know if you ever heard of that, Al, but it was a surgeon, and he said, my child would get a much better immune system than if I over sanitize. So dirt's important. Good call, Tory.
Dirt and bacteria. There's a reason that you send your kids to preschool, even though any colleague knows sending your kid to preschool, you might as well just mush their face in a petri dish. They are so gross. They're sick all the time. It's terrifying as a parent. They come home I think I told you this before, Tory. Jen was at work and I took Ford to his pediatrician because he was just so sick. And I don't even know if this is what she should have said, but she goes, oh, your son has an ear infection. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 11. She said that. Oh, God. And I'm just like, you know, and first of all, he couldn't emote very well to tell us what was hurt. So it's like, but we sent him to preschool for that. He's got earaches out, and he's like, that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
And
exactly.
I think like you do see kids in a hermetically sealed bubble, you know, kind of tend to pay the price. So Tory, we're gonna move on, and I think you know what we need right now. I think we need this. I might run it twice just for your day. All right, Tor. We've talked about Jeffrey Epstein, childhood obesity, and killer floods in Texas. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about you know, something that I'm actually curious to see where your head is on this. Chip and Joanna Gaines want to take us back, way back, Tory. They want us to basically live, I believe, like it's the 1850s. No electricity. Wait, did I see Michael Dean make a face? He's typing something. I always feel so scared when I just see 1880s. Michael Dean, I could see him. Colleagues, you guys can't see, but when I said 1850s, Michael Dean goes.
Well, we have a whole trailer, so let's take a look at that trailer.
Right. Okay, let's look at the trailer because I want to respond after this. I have some thoughts. Okay.
Going back to the frontier is going to be life-changing for all of us.
We want to go backward so that we can go forward in the right direction.
Makeup and jewelry removal there, please. Lip gloss at least, right? Everything must go.
No. I want my kids to learn humility and hard work.
All of your tech in here, please.
Are you guys ready to get rid of these devices?
No.
No?
I'm at a loss for words that I have to give up all of this to go back to the frontier.
Welcome to your frontier.
Oh my God.
This is really it. This is all we have.
There's only 2 beds. I'm not sharing a bed.
Why are we complaining about this?
I didn't anticipate it would be this difficult just to find 3 vegetables for dinner tonight.
We sit on that?
It's the 1800s.
This house, the living situation, it's just hard.
This is what you have to do to survive.
Whatever it's.
All right, I can't do any more of that. That is the pitch. So Tory, I can't say it doesn't look interesting.
I think it looks very interesting. I think it looks very interesting because we did this in 3rd grade. We did this in 4th grade. We did this in 5th grade. We had to learn, live like pilgrims and blah, blah, blah. And you know what it teaches you a lot about? How gardening. I mean, irrigation. I mean, I think this could be fun to watch. I don't know.
Did you grow or garden anything today?
Well, back at the house, I have cucumbers and tomatoes growing, but the tomatoes are like $35 to grow, and really they're very inexpensive to buy. So
Yeah.
well, but I feel like we've already seen this. Cynthia says PBS already did this. I know there was a kids show that did this as well. So it's kind of a recycling of it, but I don't know. Are you interested in it, and would you participate?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's interesting that we don't see Chip and Joanna. That's interesting. Isn't this y'all idea? Hey, Tory, I have an idea. Why don't you turn your lights out? I'm going to be over here watching Netflix. Let me know how that goes for you. Bro.
Yeah, they did not participate.
I'll tell you this too, Tor, because watching this clip brought back like a weird memory for me. But I used to host a show called Awesome Adventures on Fox, and we went to Colonial Williamsburg.
I've been many times to Williamsburg.
Well, I had to interview the slave, and it was the most awkward thing that I've ever done. We have interviewed some people on DBL, and interviewing this black man that did not want to answer questions about that well that he was getting water out of. I had to stick a mic and be like, "What are you doing now?"
There can't have been a slave. There was a slave at Williamsburg.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
You didn't know? You didn't see the slave?
I think I did, but I mean, I just find that like really on PC. I mean, I get it. I think that's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I was uncomfortable too, because this dude was so mad at me. We are in the Virginia sun. It is cooking everybody. And I'm just like, explain the pulley system with water. And he's like, if you don't get the F out of my face, you're going to be down there. I don't know why we have this backlash to technology. You know what? Let me tell you something about technology. For as much as it's bad for our kids and probably bad for our attention, you know where I was this morning when I opened my eyes, Tory?
In a bed.
Cincinnati, Ohio. This morning, I flew here after staying in a nice hotel. I checked that on with my phone, got here, called the car with my phone. It dropped me off. My girl told me I don't feel well. I arranged for some meds to be picked up, and I got here and I was able to do this show with my friend I'm not in the same room with. Technology is awesome. Last I checked, we got 50, 60 colleagues in here. How'd that happen? Good,
but at the same
old-fashioned technology.
Okay, but at the same time, I do think that's important that we do recognize our past, learn how to deal with. I think it's important to show that it doesn't have to be that way, that we can at least do you could grow some vegetables, you could lower your energy consumption, you could share some beds, you could lower your carbon footprint. I don't hate this idea, and I like seeing families bond. I think that could be cool. But
they don't know what they're doing, Tory. That's the problem. I don't think people just go, "Oh, I'm gonna farm." I was listening to this. When I was driving across country with SAR, we drove to Dallas to go watch a football game, and of course she fell asleep. Now we're in. I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about how people just talk about farms and farmers, and they don't realize like it takes generations of families. To learn how to farm. Like they said, it takes 10 generations before you have mastered that plot of land and you know what to grow and how to grow it. And you're talking about lowering your energy consumption. Have you ever dug a hole in the middle of the summer and then knelt over it? There's some energy. What if you're hungry? There's no snack.
But it is, we had the guy on from Blue Zones. If you guys ever read Blue Zones, it's a book about the places in the world that have the people living the longest. And they're like sections and groups of them. And many of them are people that own gardens, work with gardens, because they're bending over, they're tilling the soil, they're using their muscles, they're getting the immune system, or they're climbing up hills and they're making fences. All of this stuff is like vitally important to human bodily function. And those certain sections of the world, they live to like 100 plus. So bringing some of this back ain't a bad idea, in my opinion.
Well, all that stuff sounds good, but I guarantee you, Tory, and I want to ask you a question about this. If I ask you to build me a fence today, don't tell me, oh, this is vitally important. You'd be like, oh yeah, really, I gotta FaceTime my dad. It is. So Tory,
but it is important. It is.
Let's keep it real. What would it cost to get you on this on this here show?
I would need like $20K to start.
That's all?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, how much money, colleagues, are you going to need to go on the show?
And colleagues, keep in mind that outhouse sitch.
And I understand
that's 50 right there. That's 50,000.
And maybe it's different for like, I can imagine also a person of color not wanting to join the frontier land, since it's like, there's a lot of like history there that might be uncomfortable.
Yeah. It was just in a black family, like, oh, we made it.
Yeah.
Back to right before Jim Crow started. Boo. Yeah.
I mean, that's just like an interesting thing about the show. So I hope Chip and Joanna like show up. Maybe they just produce it. But ELC says 100 grand, no taxes.
I'm with
100 grand? Not enough, says Tron. Oh my God, 20K is not enough for you guys?
No.
Day?
No, I think he thought you wanted 20K a day. She was going to take 20K for the whole experiment. You're crazy.
All right, fine. 50. I'll go.
I'm between ELC and Emma. If
Emma's 75, I'll go to 75.
And because y'all are forgetting, like, there's also like bears out there, and like there's like, oh, you got to clean that outhouse eventually, and you're going to spend 100K just on a psychologist to get that memory out.
I don't think you have to clean an outhouse. I think it's just down, right? Or maybe you have to bury it. I'm
assuming it's going to pile up. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Okay.
That's how gross it is. Where the fridge is at.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe 75 would be my minimum. Beatrice is going 1 million plus. I kind of like the way she's thinking. Nice way to go. Way to go on that, Beatrice. So I'm going to raise mine up. I'm raising mine up. Right. 75.
Way to copy off Beatrice. Good. Well
I
done.
know. I love that name.
Keep it moving. All right, Tory, we got to talk about our girl, Naomi Osaka. Let's look at the clip first.
I'm just going to be a negative human being today. I'm so sorry. Like, I have nothing positive to say about myself, which is something I'm working on. I think, yeah. I mean, it was my daughter's birthday, so I was happy about that this week. But other than that, it's just today I'm just constantly replaying the match now.
Yes, and Michael Dean, I believe he went on to tell me that she was saying, why does only her sadness get clipped and not her jubilance when she wins a match? And so she kind of had an issue with ESPN presenting her in a certain light. Tory, what do you think about that? And what do you think about that statement that she had to say right there?
Okay, so there's a narrative with Osaka that's been going on for a while now. And the narrative is she's depressed, she is anxious, she's always sad, and has this kind of like attitude, right? Like it's always been that way. Every time I see a clip of her, it's always like someone asked about her weight and she's like, did you really have to ask about that? Or I don't know, I don't feel comfortable in that. It's always that. And I just want to say, she's a very modern human being. And
yes,
she's not just a one-note athlete. And what I like about her is that she reminds me of myself. She's very, very relatable. I see a lot of complex emotions. She's very honest. She's extremely authentic. And when you run with one version of her like that, you erase an entire 360 degree of a really interesting, honest athlete that we're not seeing very much else. So I find her extremely actually inspiring, and they are not portraying her that way. But for me, I'm in a really bad place. I'm in a pretty depressive episode. You guys know I'm very relatable about that. I have a lot of mental health struggles. Like, you know, I would like to see more of her, but I'd also like this narrative to be not that she's always so sad. It's that she's a complex, real human being. That's how I see what just happened. And she also is bringing mental health to the tennis world in a way we haven't seen before. So
Right.
I really appreciate her. I know that it draws more attention and it gives them more money and all that, but the idea of humanizing her instead of one-noting her is so easy to do. Just to one-note her. She's sad. No, she's a real human being that we haven't seen in tennis. And
also has a lot of
grateful for
career success that you could highlight as well. And it does
Yes.
show you like why people are kind of fed up with legacy media and are turning to ghost stories with Al and Tory, because we look at each story. I think they're just like you said, this is the sad girl. So everything that we will show is her being sad to reinforce that narrative. And
Right.
then people will be writing like, I don't want my daughter to be like her. She's sad all the time. She can't win, because if she was like, oh, I'll get him next time, people be like, modern athlete doesn't care. Joe
Right.
DiMaggio wouldn't talk for a week when he lost. So what is the appropriate response for her other than incredible honesty? I've worked
That's
really
right.
you and I have been there before. We've gone out for stuff and it's like, I stayed up for 6 weeks memorizing these lines and I feel like I was better. I think I could have done a better job. I'm just really bummed out. You can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
What are you saying
Honesty
about
isn't
your honesty?
interesting.
What are you saying about your
Yeah.
audience that they can't accept the honesty?
Right. Or you get the Serena Williams where she's always like angry and she's always that person going after the refs and doing all that. And they don't show her really jovial side. They pinpoint, and I have to say this, especially female athletes. I feel like Rafael Nadal gets to be a human being. He can have a bad game and he can talk about that, or he can be great on clay and talk about that.
He could scream at the refs and people be like, oh, he's so fiery.
Right, exactly. But specifically the Coco Gauffs and the Serena Williams and the Naomi Osaka, they don't get to be human beings. And John Venturini says, I applaud the honesty, the vulnerability. It was the most cathartic when I did and continue to share my story. She's helping so many people that way. I totally agree. I think they should have brought this on as like, what a real human being, and use the word human instead of sad, depressed, like angry. No, that's an athlete with a human being behind it. And I appreciate that. So I think we have to be discerning when we see clips like that. Colleagues were better than that. We can be discerning and say that wasn't well done. We can be better than that.
I mean, Tory, you're talking about this is one of the first times we've seen it. I feel like the first time that I really noticed it was Simone Biles.
Yeah, with the twisties and yips. She got the yips.
And it was really flashed a light on the dynamics between the generations, because younger folks were like, they take mental health days now.
They get it. They get it.
And we saw what happened to athletes that didn't. We see the headlines that they have done something horrible to themselves or fallen into addiction because they did not deal with their mental health. And I remember sitting on the panel at DBL going, is our president and Fox News trolling our Olympians in real time? I guess do it. He flips it. Did you see what that human just did?
Yeah.
You're built like a stack of wet towels.
Yeah.
Simone Biles, she's not bringing it.
Yeah.
It's really it stinks that they can't come up with another narrative for such a dynamic, interesting person, and that they don't trust their audience enough to see that, hey, we're not going to tell you one thing about this person. We're going to present some different stuff. Let us know what you think. They don't think enough of their audience to do that.
No,
so,
I completely agree with that. I agree with that completely.
All right, Tory, we are already short on time, so I'm just going to, let's see. I want to save Michael Dean. I want to save the specific day for Wednesday because I want to get into that. So I want to ask you one more quick question. Here we go. All right, Tory, we're going to the world of travel, and more specifically, camping. More specifically than that, bathroom camping. Have you heard of this term? What do you think it means if you haven't?
Bathroom camping. Okay. Is it when you go to the bathroom and like stay there to just hide?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, isn't it? That's awesome.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
It makes sense because people will come find you in the break room and you know there's snitches in the office. They'd walk past the break room twice and you know they went straight to the boss like, oh, it's Tory. They would always like, oh, is she okay? She's been in the break room for 2 hours. I just thought that was weird. So like you do need to go to the bathroom if you want to be on the low. Now, that's not where I choose to hang out. But are you a bathroom camper? I could see you doing that.
Yeah. I remember in like 6th grade, I went to like the bathroom to skip certain classes. But and girls' rooms are really different. I don't know if guys know this, but girls' rooms in like lower and middle school, all the way up to like the bars nowadays, like, I don't know, girls, so there's a social hierarchy in the bathroom. There's like a whole thing that goes on with girls. I feel like guys take a magazine, like someone said, who said Marcy, or like whatever, like a newspaper. People still do that. But like, I feel like you guys are reading and stuff, but like girls kind of socialize in there. And there's a lot like to be said for the bathroom breaks. I think you get to know your coworkers in a different way. And I wouldn't mind bathroom camping for a little bit. I don't know. Is that weird? What do you guys think? You don't go to the bathroom and use it. You just go and escape. I would do this.
Yeah,
is that weird?
Well, some people aren't doing that, Tory, and that's my problem. We can coordinate all the bathroom camp when we want. I didn't know that Ed over here has had 6 cups of coffee, and he's coming in here to show the bathroom what's up. Now what's going on with my camping sitch, you know? And so I think I'm out on this. So Tory,
Okay.
I want you to take us out with, do you have a fact today?
I do have a fact of the day.
All right. I love your facts.
Okay, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, does everyone know the Chupa Chups lollipop brand?
No.
Oh.
Wait, kinda.
Yeah, you guys have heard of it.
Are they whistles?
I think so. They're called Chupa Chups, and they're a famous lollipop brand. Maybe I'll do a different fact. Should I do a different one?
Famous. You couldn't even get their name out.
Okay. Anywhere, Salvador Dali designed their logo, and I thought that was cool. But I'll do another one. When do you guys think the Caesar salad was invented?
1958.
Lower. Anyone else? Can someone in the chat try and say when was the Caesar salad invented? When? What year?
No one knows. Just tell us.
It was 1924.
Oh, right. Okay. How do we prove that?
Mr. Caesar.
Yeah.
Is that a good one?
John Venturini was off by 1. Let's give us one more fact.
Okay, we got one more fine. Okay, here we go. Hot water can freeze faster than cold water.
Yes.
Okay, here's another one. A group of ferrets is called a business.
No, it is not.
Yeah. And finally, the shortest complete sentence in the English language is I am.
Oh, I thought like run would be because it's got a subject.
Where's the subject?
If I point you can say run.
No, that's just a verb. That's not a sentence.
Okay. I didn't have a lot of pictures. I was hoping.
I am is the shortest sentence in the English language. I have another one. Last one. This is it. The longest word you can type using only your left hand on the computer. You ready for this?
Yes.
Stewardesses.
But now you can't even say that. You got to type flight attendants with your left hand.
Can you not say it at all?
No, I don't think. Oh, run is a complete sentence.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I don't know about that.
Oh, man.
I don't know
what? And I'm glad we
yeah, I agree with Tron. It's you run. It's not implied. That's
It
not
is
a
implied. If I turn to you and a volcano's going off and I say run, it's not implied I'm talking to you.
Yeah, but you could say that about anything like want. The I want is implied. Like you need to say it anyway. All right, whatever.
Can you just admit that I was right?
No, I don't.
Just a hater till the end.
Oh, I like this. Beatrice says no is a complete sentence. Amen, Beatrice.
Yes. All right.
Amen.
So we do. So then Tory was wrong. So let's review your facts of the day. The first one was something she couldn't pronounce. I actually know what those are. Yeah. They're whistles.
Oh, they're lollipops that turn into whistles?
In the stick, there's a little blue part that you can like do a little sad, rusty trombone.
Okay.
And then, you didn't know that, so we had to skip.
Well, Salvador Dali did the logo for that.
Even though you don't know what it is or what the logo is.
I don't know what the logo is.
Okay, so then your next one was the
Caesar salad.
The Caesar salad. We should have ended there, but we pushed on because I was like, you got a better one. The next one was just wrong. It was just not a fact. It was not a thing.
And then
your fourth one was culturally inappropriate. And we call that the Tory home run. All 4 bases. Yo, I love you so much. I'm proud of you for doing the show today. Full disclosure, it was a tough day. It was touch and go. And I wouldn't have held anything against you if you didn't do it today.
No,
but you
I
did
would
it
have to do it.
because you're a freaking professional. You're my sister. I love you. I love
you.
our colleagues.
I love you, colleagues.
Yes, we will see you on Wednesday. We out.